Bluegrass Brooklyn, our podcast all about the music we love, straight from the Bluegrass borough of Brooklyn, New York.
Constellations, sleeping in your car. To the left, past the trees. Lay me down beside you, underneath your knees. Looking for
Season 5, Episode 6. Here at Bluegrass Brooklyn Podcast, I'm Mike Wilner.
And I'm Liz Wolfe.
And today Liz explores another one of New York's iconic venues, the Lower East Side honky-tonk music bar, Lucinda's, with Allison Kelly, singer, songwriter, and jam host, and also with the creator and managing partner of Lucinda's, Kelly Swindall.
Yes, it was a really fun interview. Both women are very dynamic and have important visions on how they can support Americana, blues, roots, and bluegrass music in New York City and beyond.
Oh, it's really cool. Both Liz and I go jam there with some frequency. So to get that inside view is a lot of fun. So Liz, what do you have going on?
You're never going to guess.
I don't know. Go ahead.
It's only 2 days away from Jam Jersey,
Yay.
happening Friday, March 20th through Sunday, 22nd of March, 2026. We've got swag bags. We've got so many incredible musicians coming. We have a band showcase. We have a concert on Friday night. We even have a pre-party on Thursday night. And I think we have 75 different jams scheduled. That's not counting the unscheduled jams. So it is definitely going to be a jamming weekend of fun. And I'm so excited to see everyone. Just remember, you can still sign up last minute and show up on Friday night or Saturday and come on and jam with us.
And just in case people don't realize, you can just show up for a day, right, Liz?
That's right. You could just come on Saturday for the day. And remember, you can get these tickets at jamjersey.com.
I'll be podcasting there, and I'll be picking up content for a subsequent episode.
So what do you have going on, Mike, other than coming to Jam Jersey, of course?
Yeah, well, Jam Jersey, of course. But in April, on April 13th, I will be down in Eunice, Louisiana at the Dewey Balfa Cajun and Creole Heritage Week, which we talked about in the previous episode. I'll be there with some of the foremost Cajun fiddle players in the world, along with all kinds of other folks. And between the music, the food, the people, the culture, and the great atmosphere, it's going to be a wonderful time. So that's Balfa Week. You can find that online or check out the program notes if you're interested.
Well, I have spent some time down there. Love it. You're going to have a great time.
Looking forward to it. In the meantime, please remember to follow us at Bluegrass Brooklyn. Brooklyn is spelled BKLYN on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram. If you have any comments or questions or just want to say hi, please drop a mail to mike@bluegrassbrooklyn.com. And if you're looking for jams in Uptown Manhattan, Bronx, Riverdale, or New Jersey, or elsewhere, check out bluegrassjamsnearme.com. So anything else, Liz?
No, let's get to the episode.
All right, let's roll.
Did you have to wait? Did it take you long?
Well, hello. I am so excited to have Allison Kelly on today's podcast episode. Allison and I met because she runs the jam on Tuesday nights at Lucinda's. So Lucinda being the famous Lucinda Williams, and Allison Kelly runs this jam, which I have been to, which has been a lot of fun. Allison is a musician and artist who lives in New York. Welcome.
Thanks for having me. I'm so happy to be here.
So yeah, Lucinda's, how'd you get involved with all that?
It's a funny story. I'm a songwriter, and I really started writing songs during the pandemic. I guess if you weren't making sourdough, you were writing songs. And I was a part of this collective where once a week you had to bring a song, a fully completed song, and present it. And we had this little Zoom class. And I did it for over a year. It was also when I started to really dive into the banjo. And so I was really just writing a ton. And it was such a great community. And so years later, I saw a Facebook message from a friend of mine that was in that group where there was a new bar that was coming to the Lower East Side and they were looking for people. And so I messaged Kelly Swindall, who runs the programming down there, and said, hey, I'd like to get involved with a new music venue, and it turned out to be the wonderful Lucinda's. And she said, we're really looking for a bluegrass jam. And I have a pretty extensive experience in hosting. I produce shows and I'm a touring musician. So I felt really confident that we could build a community. I had no idea, however, the energy that Lucinda's that neighborhood would bring. I remember I got my friend Nathan Hazelby to play bass and another guy to play dobro. And I said, it might just be the three of us. I'm not sure if anybody will show up. And 6 months later, sometimes we have more people on stage than are listening in the bar. It can be upwards of 20 or 25 people playing together. It's just been really magical.
Yeah, not just musicians, but quality musicians. You've really attracted a crowd of musicians who obviously love the music. I would call it a pickers jam. I make the distinction between a singing jam and a pickers jam because there's a lot of very good pickers. Obviously, people are singing as well, but you brought out a good quality of musician.
Oh, that makes me so happy to hear. Yeah, I have just been utterly transformed by the community that has shown up. We started it in August of last year. And yes, there are people who are just tried and true. Every Tuesday, they are there, they are practicing, they work on things. There's one guy who comes to the jam and he has a log of every song we play every Tuesday. It's just phenomenal, the people that come. We have some newbies and guest stars and that sort of thing, which is really fun too.
Yeah, that's great. Everybody's having a great time.
Yeah. And what also is fun is the Lower East Side is such an amazing community in and of itself. And we have a lot of folks who come for the jam. They come to listen. They are not participating. They don't bring an instrument, but people who really love the whole energy of the bar. And that's been really fun too, to just watch. That's what this music is about, right? Is about singing with each other. My mission statement with it, or what I feel so strongly about with this jam and all the jams I go to, is we live in such a world that is constantly becoming more and more isolated. The songs are simple. The chords are simple. The chorus is simple. You can, by the end of I'll Fly Away, that's a song I do nearly every week because generally people have heard it. And people want to sing. They want to play. They are scared, but they want to do it. And if you can invite them to do it, I mean, it gives so much to me. It gives so much to them. It's just, to me, there's few better feelings on this planet than communing together in joy and song.
Yeah, a lot of my jams have 20 to 25 sometimes. When we're outside on Sundays at Riverside Park, like 30, 35 people can show up. And I marvel at that because people clearly want to have that sense of connection. And it just runs counter to a lot of the vibe that's out there right now in terms of separation. And so Bluegrass really invites people into a community.
It totally does. And I do want to reveal myself that I'm a clawhammer banjo player. So I'm old time and I confess. But what drew me to old time and folk music and bluegrass is folk music is a way that we tell our stories. It's what we sing when we're happy, when we're sad, when we're angry. And there is a folk song for every situation: a wedding, a birth, a death, a murder, a fried chicken sundae. There is a folk song for it. And I have felt that even in the last 6 months. I've lived in New York City for about 14 years and have been in all sorts of various bands and things like that. And I return to music with whatever emotion I am feeling. And again, with this jam, it has been really fun to feel that community in a way I hadn't before. It's just been really neat to feel that wave of whatever is going on in the world or globally, or even just in our little jam of, hey, did you get that job? Or, oh, it's his birthday, or whatever that is. We feel it together every Tuesday.
So I have one more question about the jam. The first time I went, you said to me before I got there, you were the only woman there.
Yes.
And then I think I came with a couple women.
Yes.
So what the hell? For the most part, it's just this sea of men.
Yes.
The occasional woman. What? Why?
Yes, I'm always thrilled to see you for many reasons, but I have some theories about this. As a woman in music, this is on a bigger scale than just the jam, but as a woman in music, I have felt like I had to really show myself. I had to be right on. I had to be perfect. I had to be prepared. I had to have makeup on. Whenever I got a seat at the table in this industry, I have really had to be the best version of myself. And that is how I have moved through the music business. What's fun and amazing and messy and perfect about bluegrass jams is I start every jam with, we don't know what we're playing until we start playing it. We don't know who's playing until they start playing. So you are not going to have a perfect solo. You are not going to play it perfectly. And what I think for women, and so many groups feel this way, this is not just a woman's issue. When you get a seat at the table, it's so scary to mess up. And what I invite women to do is please mess up. Please come and swing big, because that is the way you get better and try things out. And what I hope with my jam is that I create a sense of, this is fun. There's no stakes. This is a place where you can grow. But I produce shows in my other life. I have a women's collective called Americana Women, where we tour nationally and we celebrate folk music and roots music and all that sort of thing. And I find this with them as well, is there's a real tentativeness of, let me go home and prepare, and then I'll come and bring you the finished product. And what inspires me the most is when they feel vulnerable enough to be like, okay, well, let's just try it. I'll try a solo. Okay, I'll be brave. And that's really what I feel like is some of my life's work, is creating a space for women to be messy and practice and allow themselves to just throw spaghetti at the wall musically.
Yeah. I always like to tell people that no one is laying awake at night thinking about your solo. They're thinking
Yes.
about their solo.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
So no one even remembers when you walk away from the mic what your
No.
solo was at. I'll never forget, I was at this jam late at night, some festival, and there was
Yeah.
some, other guy, I'd never met him before, super good, like
Mhm.
everybody in the world wants to play guitar like this guy, right?
Yeah.
And there's only 6 of us left, 2 in the morning, and he does this solo, and at the end of it, he goes, "Dang, I really messed that one up." And I joked, I said, "Yeah, we all noticed." Like, nobody noticed.
No.
Because you were
No.
so great. And plus,
Yes.
it's just like, wait, what? You were
Yes.
So anyway, nobody's laying awake at night thinking about your solo. They're only thinking about their own, and they shouldn't even be thinking about that, because it's all just part of the flow of the music.
I totally agreed. It's like learning a language. You have to go speak Spanish badly. You have to go do it. You have to push yourself to go to the jam and learn the songs, and then you learn them. And then 6 months from now, you'll go, oh, yeah, I know that. I remember when I was first starting out playing bluegrass, people kept sticking their foot up at the air at the end of the song. And I was like, what are you doing? I was a bass player. I was like, I don't know what's happening. And then we would get to the end of the song, a song I would call, and I was like, how do we stop? How do we stop? What does everybody do? Put your foot up. But I remember that so viscerally, just being like, I don't know what I'm doing. And some sweet person guided me. Allow yourself to learn. And yes, no one's thinking about it, or it's okay. It's all okay.
I think what worked for me in the beginning was really just being an observer. I participated, but I watched and I observed, and I finally figured out after the 50th person lifted up their foot that, and then it coincided with that we were ending. Like,
Yeah.
Got it. So I want to also go back to the clawhammer banjo.
Mhm.
So I didn't realize, it sounds like this was also a pandemic thing where you got more deep into the clawhammer banjo. Why the clawhammer banjo?
So, yeah, my banjo origin story. Gosh, 10 years ago, my sister had found a banjo at a pawn shop and bought it for $70. And I have quite a menagerie of instruments. I've played all sorts of things. Not well, but I dabble and get excited about them. So the banjo lived there, and I grew up on a little farm in rural Ohio where the banjo was living. So I was spending time with my mom and I picked it up and I was thinking like, well, what am I going to do? And it's funny to be on the porch playing the banjo.
Rural
And let me,
Ohio, right?
in rural Ohio, yes. And I always say the best place to be a novice banjo player is 6 feet away from the nearest person. It's a good isolation project. But one of the best things about the internet is there is a beautiful, wide, again, community of people. And I'm left-handed, and I think that I find the difference between Scruggs style and old time clawhammer is that my right hand is really just the motor, and I love to play quite fast. And my left hand with the hammer-ons and that sort of thing is really doing some of the more intricate work, where I find with Scruggs style, I'm doing shapes, chord inversions on the neck, and your right hand has to really move forward. So that's why I think that I was drawn to it. And then what I also loved was the different kind of tunings that are so integral to old time music, mountain tunings and sawmill tunings and the modal stuff. I'm a big Joni Mitchell fan, and she has a quote about I'd tune the guitar and then I'd find the chords that were right for the song. And as a songwriter, I felt really opened up by the tunings of the banjo of like, I'm not exactly sure what chord I'm playing, but it's the chord that I need for the song that I'm writing. And so as I was learning this repertoire of old time music and then writing my own music myself, it just felt like my creative spirit just exploded all at the same time.
Mm. And so you were playing the bass before that?
Yes. Yeah, I've been a bass player. I have a degree in acting, so I've always been an actor and have toured with bands and wasn't primarily playing country music. It's the music that I grew up with, but when I moved to New York, all I wanted to do was get a gig. So as the saying goes, I bought an upright and got a gig.
Right.
And I remember very early moving to New York, I met another guy named David Lutkin who runs jams and is a lovely guy in our community. And so I'd just go up to the bass player every time he wanted to go to the bathroom or get a beer and say, oh, I'll go sit in on a few songs. And that was my first tiptoe into the scene.
Yes, I met David at your jam the other night.
Yeah.
And then I went and saw the Porch on Windy Hills. So
Oh, great.
Saturday. Yeah. Wow. What a great show. One of the things that was so wonderful about that show is the musicality, and they all played all these different instruments, including the dulcimer, which was really great to watch and really, really well done. So highly recommended.
I just saw this Instagram that was like, bring back endangered hobbies, which I loved. And the girl said, try the dulcimer. Again, it's user friendly. It sounds good just strumming at once. So fun. I'm a big fan of the auto harp. Anything that kind of gets you going fast is, to me, an excellent start.
That's why I played the ukulele for all those years.
Yeah. Yeah.
So actually, that's a good point for anybody who's listening. Obviously, a lot of people listening to this do already play instruments, but if you don't, or you're thinking about it, I'm just always taken aback by people who say, oh, I'm not musical. And I somehow culturally, this got into our world where there was this definition or distinction between someone who was and wasn't musical. And I just don't buy that. I think everybody can learn how to form their fingers on an instrument, however simple it is. Or like Allison Brown said on her interview in banjo, she said the first chord is free. It's a G.
Right.
That was really fun.
Right.
So,
right.
Yeah, I really want to encourage people. It can be so simple. It doesn't need to be complicated.
It doesn't need to be complicated. No, you've learned to type on a keyboard. You've learned the steps to drive a car, brush your teeth. You've learned something, and it's just steps. It makes sense. And again, I think that we live in this hustle culture, and I certainly do as a professional musician, but you can have fun at something and it doesn't need to make money. I always wonder if that's like, I can't monetize it. I'm not the best at it. You don't have to be the best. And again, folk music is music of the people. Go sing. All God's critters got a place in the choir. Just come and be a part of it and enjoy it and let it be something for you. It doesn't have to be for anybody else. And that is just something that's very important to me. I don't like the gatekeeping that sometimes happens with any styles of music, but certainly not this music. This music is for everybody and should stay that way.
So, Allison, you've been in a lot of jams. Do you have any jam anecdotes? Anything where something surprising happened or something unexpected?
I don't know if I have one, but I'll tell you what is fun about my jam that I don't know if is true about every jam. We get a fair amount of non-bluegrass instruments. We have a saxophone that shows up more often than not. Lucinda's has a piano, so we get some beautiful piano in our jam, and I love it so much. I love that we've had, I don't know what it's called, but the big mandolin, octomandolins, tons of harmonicas. And what I love about that is they just want to do it. Okay, yes, I will play Angeline the Baker on the saxophone. Sure. And to me, it feels like the tapestry of New York City. And that's how it starts is I don't know that song that well, and I don't have the instrument it's supposed to be played on, but here I am. And those moments to me are so special. Personally, one of my favorite moments was I got to spend my birthday at Lucinda's, and it's fun to have 25 people with mandolins and banjos sing happy birthday to you.
Now you're working on other projects as well. I mean, you keep yourself
Yeah.
very busy. So what other projects and interests are you pursuing right now?
Well, I'm a songwriter. My project, Southpaw Green, was my first foray into really writing for old time banjo, and that's on all streaming services. I have music under my own name. As I mentioned, Americana Women is a tribute to all of this stuff, and we tour. And I also love country swing and the Bob Wills style. And so I have a group called New Ohio, and we do a bit more swinger dingers. There's a drummer and that sort of thing. And those projects keep me busy. And then I'm also an actor in New York. So it was fun. I was just working at the Public last fall. So when the show came out, I'd just take a bike over to Lucinda's, and it was all quite dreamy.
So what are you thinking direction wise that you'll be going with your artistic endeavors?
Well, you know what's fun is New York is so vibrant, I don't really have to pick. And that's my favorite part. I'm about to go do a new bluegrass musical, and bluegrass and folk music is very heavy in the theater scene. And so I feel very lucky I don't have to pick. I keep writing and I keep recording and I keep jamming and I keep acting. And I find that variety is what really makes me most excited.
I love what
Thrilled.
you're saying. That is something about New York that is so wonderful, which is there's all kinds of avenues that you can pursue, and it doesn't have to be a one-shot deal. You can wander into different artistic endeavors.
If you plant things that grow well together, your garden grows. Especially, I have found that living over a decade in New York City, you simply must diversify. I get great joy out of it, but learning how to do different things and meeting different people is such an amazing asset in this city, having just a wide net of community and network to pull from.
Yeah, and I really resonate with what you said about, okay, I bought an upright and so now I have a gig. But the way that you said, gee, person who's playing the bass, you're going to get a drink, I'll play for a bit. And it's this way in which you can make yourself relevant by contributing to
Yeah.
my method of stepping into a jam. Most people I don't know is I wait for a song to come around that I can harmonize to, and then I step in and
Absolutely.
harmonize. And then 10 minutes later, they're asking me to do a song, because whether it's playing the guitar or harmonizing or picking or whatever the instrument or contribution is, by contributing, people will be more welcoming to have you come in.
100%. 100%. Yeah. Finding the joy in playing with people is, I think, the key, because sometimes it can feel like, well, I got to wait for my big moment for this song that I know. And here I go. And here's my presentation. And that has its place too. And I certainly do that. I'm quite a ham. But I think the joy of letting everyone shine or finding how you can contribute, that's the most fun part for me these days, is being like, oh my gosh, this person brought a song we've never played. And how can this go? It feels like directing it in real time. Like, oh, okay, gosh, those girls who came last week and brought Ain't No Ash. And I'm like, oh, I haven't heard this. oh, there's 3-part harmony. Okay, let's bring it down. Okay, everybody. Feeling so inspired by what people bring to me is just, again, no better feeling. I start to get tingly and I'm like, yes, yes, yes. We have a 3-hour block of music where we're going to put on a show and we don't know what the show is. What is the movement of the show from 7 to 10 or 8 to 11? And I know that that's quite woo-woo to feel about it, but I do feel that about what is the journey that all of us are on from 8 to 11. What will we learn from this to this? Why are we all here in this space today? And I think if you bring that intention to anytime you are with other people, you can make it magical. It can either be like, well, I'm going to go make $50 and a free drink, or it can be, we're all here. What are we supposed to do with this time? And I just get so inspired by that.
And I would like to take that down to a micro level on a song level, because this is something that when I'm doing my Wernick classes and teaching people how to jam, is every song you want to be thinking about, not how can I include every single person to have a break on it so that nobody feels bad at the end that they got out.
Right.
Which is impossible to do, right?
Yeah.
And to say, how do I want my song? Each individual song will make up that trajectory of the night, right? So I want to think about what would go great here next. Not just the guy standing next to me, but the fact that I want to hear a dobro, then I want to hear a fiddle, then I want to hear a mandolin, then I want to hear some harmony, and then to bring it back. And I think each individual song, by the end of the night, you're like, Ain't No Ash Will Burn was wonderful.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, you go on a journey. There's some people, they just want to play barn burner after barn burner and being like, okay, but there's people who want to dance in the bar, so let's play a 2-step. Or there's people who want to sing, let's do that. And, moving the journey forward is fun. Being the captain of that ship is really fun.
And for any jam leaders that are out there that are listening to this, you're probably resonating with this idea that it's a lot to manage. I mean, jams are better when they are managed well and kept going. There's a way that we need to take control of it and help to guide it through.
Yeah. Another jam anecdote was a gal called, we couldn't hear because it's so loud in there. And half of us thought she called Salt Creek. Half of us thought she called something else. The people who said Salt Creek thought it was in G. It was in A. It was just a disaster. And this poor girl, she turned around and I said, what song did you call? And she said Salt something else, a song that I had never heard.
There's two salts. I know there's Salt Creek and another one.
Well, it was the other one. And we all collectively were like, oh, well, we didn't do that one.
The funny thing is there is this rule of the etiquette in bluegrass that once you start a song, you can't stop it. You can't say that was the wrong key. So that's the problem with that rule, is that if half the world is playing Salt Creek and half the world is playing the other salt,
we're just salty.
We're just
Well, and here's the other thing about being a woman in music and a woman in these jams is so many of these songs were written for men to sing. And so what I find is finding exciting new ways to go either above my range or below my range, because, well, we always do Old Home Place in G. That's where we do it. So either someone else has to sing it or I have to move it around. But I think that sometimes becomes tricky for women. All the keys that I sing in are the keys I sing in, but it might be different than how you learned the Stanley version or whatever version you grew up listening to.
Well, I have thoroughly enjoyed this conversation. Thank you so much. It's been great also getting to know you a bit more. And I will definitely be coming down to Lucinda's.
I'm thrilled. Yeah, we're there every Tuesday, 8 to 11. And it's so nice to speak to you too. Thanks for having me on. This was really fun.
Running back to the porch light, running back, crooked neck, staring at the night, looking for.
Well, hello. I want to welcome onto the show Kelly Swindall. She is the creator and managing partner for Lucinda's on the Lower East Side, the bar where Allison Kelly is, of course, running the Bluegrass Jam. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks, Liz.
I have been to Lucinda's a few times now. Happen to be a lover of beer, so I wanted to commend you on your beer selection, because that is
Thank you.
One of the reasons why, if I'm going to go out to a jam, that I want to enjoy. So I think you did a very nice job with that.
Oh, thank you. I love hearing that. It was definitely quite thought out and very, very happy with the beer selections there.
So you call yourself the creator and managing partner. So what does that mean that you were the creator of this bar?
Yeah, well, it was my concept, and I got everything on the walls. It's something I hand selected, put it in place myself. I have a team, but it was a creative act creating Lucinda's. It's a curated piece of art. That's how I approached it. I'm an artist. I approached it as an art piece. And then continuing to curate, booking, and putting the acts in, the type of entertainment, the programming we want to offer. It's all a creative act. And then in addition to that, there is a business aspect where I'm running it too. It was originally, I was opening as a Southern bar, but I know Lucinda, we're friends, and I was telling her all about it. And I just had this feeling she might actually be interested in being involved. So that was very late in the process. It was going to be called something else. And then I brought Lucinda in very near the time we opened, a few months before. So it was a living, breathing, constantly changing up until the day we opened the doors. It was all, again, very much a creative act, because when you're creating something, often it's telling you what it wants to be. And you start with a plan, but you also can be open to what the muse directs you for the final incarnation to be. And it's still, that being said, it's not final. Lucinda's is a living, breathing space, but it's always changing in terms of depending on who's on the stage and what's being played on the jukebox and all that. So it's a vital space, which is why I think people have really responded well to it, because they feel that vitality when they come in.
Absolutely. And I want to make sure our listeners know that the Lucinda that we're referring to is Lucinda Williams.
Yes.
She's a wonderful musician. How much involvement does she have with the bar or her creation of it?
Sure. Well, we call her our patron saint, our inspiration. When she did come in, she definitely had some wine she definitely wanted to have there. The songs on the jukebox definitely wanted to have. She and her husband, Tom, were really influential in bringing in the idea of having a couple artists have their work in the space, which is Mike Worthington and John Langford. There's a few pieces by each of them in the space. So that was a big part for sure. And then whenever she's in town, she always has little comments and suggestions that we absolutely take in and take to heart and see about incorporating.
And of course, the big part of that spirit is music. So what had you say, you know what, I want to do a bluegrass night?
Oh, so from the beginning, because there's a lot of quote unquote country bars in New York, I thought that was really integral to have, because it is a Southern bar. And while country music is definitely a big part of Lucinda, again, we went into focus on the music of the South, which does happen to be where country was created. And then it moved west from there and around the rest of the country, but it was created in the South. And so was bluegrass. Bluegrass stems from underneath the country umbrella and later became its own genre, but it was also country music. So the roots are blues, what we now call traditional old country, and bluegrass. They're all right there together. So it was very important to have that element there, because it's part of showcasing the roots of American music, particularly American Southern music.
So the only night I have been there is Tuesday night. You're getting a very competent crowd of musicians, a very enthusiastic crowd. And of course, we talked about that in the interview with Allison. So that's a big success, I would say. Is that what you hoped and dreamed for?
Absolutely. Yeah, it was fantastic. And Allison was just the perfect person for it. Yeah, it's great. The jam is a really special aspect too. I love that that's a thing that's going on now in a format, because so many people, it brings so many people in that might not have necessarily been there otherwise. Traveled across town to just listen to music, but if they're traveling across town to play, you know, that's really special and cool. And I think it brings, a lot more people out than might have normally been coming out anyway. And that's a big element of that, especially because, again, I go back to the roots of the Southern roots of country and blues and bluegrass and stuff. It was a communal act. Most people played an instrument or sang, and they would get together and play on their porch after working in factories or the fields all day. And that was such an important part of how this music came about in the first place. So being able to do that here in the city, while it's having our own kind of like front porch communal thing once a week, is really true to the spirit and the roots of it all.
Yeah, it's fast becoming a destination jam, I would say.
Yeah.
There's always those, what we call the iconic venues. And so Lucinda's is becoming that for bluegrass. People know, hey, are you going down Tuesday night kind of thing.
So amazing. So happy to hear that.
So what other music do you have coming in? That's something I don't know anything about.
Oh, sure. Well, Sundays is usually our traditional country night. Mondays is usually Americana. Wednesdays, we have various residencies. That depends on who we have. Like Brian Hurd has Howlin' Hurd on, he's the last Wednesday of every month. That's old school's electrified blues. You could call it early rock and roll, which came from country and blues. It was just electrified. And Liza Colby, who's known as a fabulous rock artist in the city. She's doing stripped down country on some Wednesday nights. Everything is country, blues, bluegrass, even original jazz adjacent, country adjacent. It all goes in that. We don't really do rock. Again, rock and roll from like the 50s, that style, rockabilly, that absolutely is true to it. But we try to keep the umbrella not too small, but within a certain container, if you will. Fridays, we do a live band country karaoke, but it's not just country. There are some other songs you can choose. That's a hit, and that's super fun because people can come out and sing on the stage on a Friday night, and it's packed. And people are really supportive of that. And then Saturday, we do, I call it the Americana, classic rock, classic country, hits through the ages type of cover band sing-along songs. People are singing along to Tom Petty and Willie Nelson and all these different songs that people know that are part of the American catalog at this point. And we do our songwriters open mic every Sunday from 1 to 5:30. And that's pretty much the breakdown. And then people will often contact us to do shows that are fairly well known, like the Black Keys have come in and Courtney Barnett, The Last Dinner Party.
So how has it changed, if it has, from your original vision when you thought about putting this bar together?
That's a good question because honestly, I wouldn't say it's changed much. If anything, I thought it would take a lot longer for it to happen. I feel like it's very much in line with what the vision has always been. Because of it getting busy and people being into it, we were able to expand to live music 7 nights a week because we pay all of our artists. So get to a place to do that. So that's how it's changed, in that it happened much more quickly and we were able to do exactly the vision. It's been awesome.
Yeah, and it's interesting. When you think New York City, you don't always think country bar. Think of a lot of clubs and other types of things like that. So do you think that the people that you're attracting to come in, not the bands, but the customers, do you think that they are a lot of native New Yorkers, or do you think they're coming in from other places, or there's a mix?
I think it's a mix, just like anywhere. We definitely have a lot of, even just East Village. There's quite a few people who've been in the East Village for their whole lives coming in. And then from the beginning, when I was focusing on it being a Southern bar, because I am a Southern transplant, I know there's a lot of Southern transplants. And so we get a lot of Southerners who come in. But then we also get a lot of people that are into this kind of music. And I mean, it's a very popular genre across the world, where there's something about it that appeals to a lot of people. And so there's definitely people, they may not be dressing like it, because there are people that come out in their Western outfits, and that's a small demographic. I think a lot of people, you'd be surprised with the music they listen to. All ages too. That's also what's great about Lucinda that I love, that I've been very happy about, is it is all ages. There's a lot of young people that come out because that's just who's going out in the East Village, and it's so crowded and busy and everyone's drinking. But a lot of them, they'll bring their parents at 11 p.m. on a Saturday. It's really sweet. It's great. And then during the week, it's all ages. And I love that. It's so cliche, but it brings people together. The music, it goes beyond dividing lines in that respect.
And for sure, we're hearing more and more, and one of the reasons people are going to bluegrass events like this and going to bars like this is we're all looking for community. You want to go where you will see people that you'll see again, and make that reconnection. I know so many of us got used to being disconnected during the pandemic, but people are looking for ways to be connected, and we're far from the days where you just go to a bar to just drink. It's fine. I love to have my beer. But on the other hand, I want to talk to people, and I want to meet with people, and I want to be in a place where I can enjoy the music and the environment. Well, I certainly wish you very much success with it. We want Lucinda's to be there for a long time, doing bluegrass especially, and country music. What world doesn't need more of that, right? So
totally agree.
Thank you so much for coming on. And I invite anyone who lives in New York City or is coming into town to go down and visit Lucinda's. And what is the address so that people know where you're going?
Yeah, it's 169 Avenue A between 10th and 11th Street. It's just off the First Avenue L. If you exit on the Avenue A side, you're even closer, just 3 blocks away. Super easy to get to.
That's great. So we all are invited to come. If you're listening to this in New York City and you play bluegrass, come on down on a Tuesday night and play from 8 o'clock to 11 o'clock.
That's right. Yeah, and always check our website. Sometimes we may have a show or something where the time might get bumped somewhere, but traditionally it's always 8 to 11. Sometimes it might start a little later or earlier, but generally speaking, 8 to 11, you're good. Instagram's even better. We really keep that up to date.
And the website is what?
It's www.lucindasnyc.com. And
Okay.
our Instagram is also Lucinda's NYC.
Got it. Okay, well, thanks again. And
you.
we will hope to see lots of people there down at Lucinda's.
Yes, ma'am, we will.
Looking for
Well, so that was pretty amazing. I really learned a lot about Lucinda's and about what goes into the musicianship and the creation of a place like that. What really stuck out to me, though, is I really appreciate Allison's encouragement to women specifically, but musicians in general, to just get out there and, you know, throw the spaghetti at the wall, take your biggest swing you can. As a fiddle player, you got to step to the mic like you're Michael Cleveland or Jason Carter, and you're going to dazzle the audience and have that confidence. And if you don't develop that confidence and willingness to fail, it's difficult to make progress. So it's really good to hear that advice.
Yeah, for sure. I loved how she said, you know, you're not going to have it perfect, or you could, this tendency to want to go back and have it be perfect before you come and do it. It's just, you don't need to do that.
I think we should all in the bluegrass community encourage people to join, because that's what it's about. I know we had people sitting at Lucinda's. They brought a guitar, but they're kind of hanging back in the booth there, and just take them by the hand and say, come on up. You know how to play G, C, and D, don't you? Well, come on the stage. The more we do that, the more we help our community grow.
The other thing that stood out to me with Kelly's interview is her commitment to having a quality country bar down there on the Lower East Side. If you had said to me 20 years ago, country music bar and the words Lower East Side together in one sentence, I don't know if I would have believed you.
Yeah.
But for sure, it has been a boon to the neighborhood. And also, it's just a really great place to go and hang. So I highly recommend everybody come out and see us on a Tuesday night to play, or any night, because they have a lot of music, 7 nights a week.
It is definitely a music bar.
Yes, for sure. So another great episode in the books. I look forward to seeing everybody out this weekend at Jam Jersey. Please remember to follow, like, subscribe to our podcast, spread the word, Bluegrass Brooklyn, all over the world. And also, of course, come out and play with us at bluegrassjamsnearme.com. Thanks so much.
Absolutely. And we look forward to seeing you around the jam circle.
Katie died in the middle of June, laid her little body in a full bloom of chicory blue. Oh, chicory blue. My mama cried, but there wasn't a damn thing we could do.